really deep down the rack mount effect rabbit hole now. This is a unit that I had never heard of before, the Kawai RV4, which they build as 4 totally separate effects processors in one unit. And to be honest, it pretty much is, because you have 4 independent effect blocks, 8 ins and 8 outs. So you can basically, if you want to, go stereo in and stereo out of each effects block in this unit totally independently, or you can choose multiple ways of configuring the routing in here. Because I'm a guitar player, I want as many effects as possible, so I'm just going to start by routing them all in series. And before we hear anything, let's get some absolute filth happening on this. This is not some kind of prehistoric reptile, it is a Hamer standard in drop C. Here's the bypass tone. And I want to start out with a nice big greasy reverb on here. This is one of the halls. You can see that it is loaded up into this 4th slot here. So I'm just going into input 1 and out of output 4, which is the mix output. Now, to my ears, that really reminds me of something like the reverbs you get in the Yamaha SPX90. Another thing that reminds me of the SPX90 is this ensemble effect. So I can navigate this way. I'm gonna go to, where on earth did I save this? I think the 3rd block on here or something like that. No, the 2nd one. So let's turn that on, and this is the ensemble effect. We'll have a look at the settings in there, but at the moment, this is kind of Zakk Wylde, No More Tears in a Box. Big, thick, greasy ensemble sound. If I hit edit, you can see I can control the individual effect balances in here. And if I hit it a bunch of other times, I have the output level for each block. I've got the effect type, so I can play around with different effect types. For example, I can try this, let's do something else. Let's just try the standard chorus in here to hear how it differs from the ensemble. Don't worry, we will hear some clean sounds at some point. So that's the chorus. You've got a vibrato, you've got a flanger in here. Let's hear the flanger. If I want to edit individual parameters, I've accidentally hit the program button over here, but let's hit edit again. I can come in here, and if I hit edit one more time from the effect type, I've got the flanger, so I could turn the rate up, I can turn the depth up. I'm going to turn the depth up on this one. Not a massive fan of fast flanges, but I do like deep flanges on there. The resonance control on here I can play around with. Does this go higher? It does go above 100. That's always exciting. not too bad. There's nothing super offensive or kind of gross sounding just yet. Everything's pretty well voiced. So let's go back to the program and let's do this. Change programs. That's not what I wanted to do. Still getting used to this interface. It is a little bit fiddly. This is exactly what I want. Anyway, so I've dialed this one in here using the, what is it? The tri-parallel delay. Let's take a look at what we've got. We've got 290 milliseconds on one side. We've got, what do we have on the other side? 580 milliseconds on the other side. And then guess what? It's going to be the sum of those two values on the other side. So it's like a circular style delay, especially the way it's panned. This sounds pretty cool to me, especially with that big hall reverb. Very, very nice. And I could combine that, of course, with that ensemble effect. And running the ensemble after the delay is actually pretty interesting. So let's go cursor across here. You can also see there's this little equals little sign on there. I can change that so that I route these blocks in parallel if that's what I want to do, if I was using parallel routing. But I'm not. So let's turn the ensemble on. All of these together, out of the one unit, you got a pretty ridiculous over-the-top lead sound now. We're going to hear a clean sound after this too. So that's that particular combination, and this is just a set of effects that after playing around with this unit for a few days, I landed on. Let's just explore a few more effect types in here. So I'm going to bypass actually I'll leave the chorus on because I'm quite fond of that chorus. I'll bypass the delays. Let's just have a listen to a few different reverbs in here. Kind of got all the basic flavors you would expect in terms of reverbs. Let's hit edit a few more times. So we've got a plate style reverb, a vocal reverb, a room reverb, a hall reverb, and it sounds like there's some crickets or some cicadas outside making some noise. That's pretty funny. A live reverb and the special effect reverb and a gated reverb. Well, you need to hear the gated reverb first up. Yeah, that would be a lot more useful on stuff like drums, I imagine, but kind of fun on guitar. So the gated reverb does gated reverb things. My favorite reverb in here is probably this special effect reverb, which kind of reminds me of like a multi-head echo with a reverb, reminiscent of like the Roland DEP5 or the Strymon B-Sky Magneto mode. Check it out. pretty good as well. All the reverbs do have a high pass and a low pass filter, and I'm going to introduce a bit of this high pass filter at around 250 Hertz. Let's just hear some nice swells with the hall. Very easy to get carried away with all that reverb on there with some gain and the hall mode. This is the phaser with a clean sound very quickly. Not too shabby, same hall reverb on there. Let's go back and edit that for a different effect type. In here, we've got phaser 2, we've got a trem in here. Let's hear the trem. Very, very subtle at those settings. There is an EQ, you've got all the reverbs again, and then you've got some kind of vanilla delay stuff like the twin delay, the mono delay. Let's just see what we can do with a simple mono delay. Let's not have 2700 milliseconds of delay. Actually, let's have it. Let's see if we can do some sound on sound stuff with this. We've got the pan down the center, no damping, effect levels all the way up. And yeah, this should be interesting. 2.7 seconds of delay. Last effect type we will have a look at is the twin delay. I've got it set up for a basic ping pong. What's cool is there is a high pass filter in here as well. I've got it set to 4K so you can really make your delays sound nice and warm. We get this. Very interesting little unit indeed. To my ears, it really reminds me of the Yamaha stuff from the similar era, even things like the Korg A3 in the way it is laid out. It is by no means a bad sounding unit. In fact, I could probably recommend this over something like an SPX90 if you needed multiple effects at the same time. The ensemble effect gets you pretty close to that symphonic style chorus. The reverbs are good, the delays are good, and there's some really creative effect modes in there. There's nothing super wacky in there like pitch effects or crystallizers or anything like that. Everything's voiced fairly safely. And I think if you wanted to run this, you know, even using some of the parallel outputs, because that 8 in, 8 out routing really is interesting, you could hook it up with a line mixer and, you know, use it for your delay and your reverb and route them together with maybe another effects processor from a similar era. So that's what I think. I think it's really cool. I didn't even know Kawai made multi-effects processors until a couple of weeks ago. And this one sounds pretty decent for the era. I want to hear from all of you, as always. What did you think about the sounds in here? What was your favorite sound? I definitely liked that tri-parallel delay with the ensemble and that reverb in there. But I want to hear from all of you. A massive thank you again to Brian Hook for sending this one out to me. If you want to support the channel directly, there are links to my Patreon and the music that I make in the video description. Have a great day. Enjoy, and I'll see you next time.